you're doing.
No, Bella, I'm supposed to say it because you stink.
No, you stink.
You stupid liar, dirty poopy head.
Yo, everybody, how you doing? Now, I want to talk about what identifies eras of Eagles football. Like, we know players do, but also one thing that lets you know what era you're in is just by looking at the jersey. Jerseys usually change enough or modified or even slightly updated enough that you know this is this era of football, this was this era of football. Like, for example, I know when it's Ron Jaworski era because of the jersey. I can just look on the screen and I know that. Then, you know, when Buddy Ryan took over, they modified the jerseys under his era. And I can tell when they're, you know, when I'm watching that era just by looking at the jerseys. Then you have Jeffrey Lurie take over the team. He buys the team. The following year, he changes the jerseys to midnight green. Now, when you think of midnight green, you think of the Donovan McNabb era, the Brian Dawkins era. That is that era. Now, we're in a Carson Wentz era, and the Eagles are at a point where their brand uniform is stale. It's way stale, and it's way overdue for an update. Now, there's nothing today that can identify the McNabb era from the Carson Wentz era. It's the same exact jersey. So, there was an article in Bleeding Green Nation, I'll put the link in the description, which was based on an article from NM Sports, which I'll put in the description, which is a branding website that talked about branding. And it was talking about how the Eagles went to teal colors with midnight green in the 90s. That was kind of the 90s thing. But the Eagles have not changed since. Most teams have updated their uniforms in some sort of way. And it's now the Eagles' time to do it. Now, Jeffrey Lurie has talked about doing an alternate Kelly green, which would be nice, but to me, isn't good enough. We live in a world where we have TVs, these OLED TVs with billions and millions of colors on the television screen. I want the Eagles to get the Kelly green, bring it back. You can keep the midnight green, work them in together, come up with something totally modern, totally with that nostalgic throwback feel, but modern at the same time, that will separate the Carson Wentz era from the McNabb era, from the Randall Cunningham era, from the Ron Jaworski era, and so on, because that's how it goes. Now, I know a lot of you have been, grew up under the Reed days, and you know the Eagles as midnight green, but for 60-something years, the Eagles were Kelly green. Kelly green is the Eagles. And I just thought this was such a cool website. It was so cool to see that people are starting to talk about this. I did a video about this months ago. And I would love to take credit for starting the conversation, but obviously it's not me. But I like that people were talking about it. It's time for the Eagles to update their jerseys, update their logo, update it, because it's been so long. And we're getting ready for the second year of Carson Wentz. I want something separate from him. I want something that his era looks different from Donovan's era. It's time to do that. It's time to bring back Kelly green. Look at the Sixers. The Sixers, they got rid of their colors and they came back with some throwback type jerseys, which are beautiful, and I love them. I think they're beautiful. And I want to see that. I want to see that again for the Eagles. And if the Eagles do it, because the Eagles have the coolest helmets in the world with the Eagle wings. I think they're the coolest helmet, okay? I don't think they need to look like the Oregon Ducks. But I think you keep the helmet and you do something different with the jerseys. And you can even keep the black jerseys as an alternate because they're pretty cool. But I'm tired of the white jerseys. I mean, Chip Kelly wore those out because, one, they had the Reebok, didn't have the midnight green jerseys ready till like November. And then the following year, Chip Kelly refused to wear green because he thought his players were too hot in green. So he always had white. So it's time for the Eagles to change their uniform. It's time for a new era. It's new look, new era, new feel. It's the Carson Wentz era. It's going to be the era of many Super Bowl rings, by the way. So hopefully they'll change it, and that's my thought on it. Now, a lot of you have been asking me for next live stream. When am I going to do the next live stream? Look for it in the next few days. I will try to do something where we can come up and talk about Eagles right before training camp, that kind of thing. Look for it. I'm sorry I haven't been able to do one. I know a lot of you. I'm surprised how many of you really liked it. But if you guys want it, we'll do something in the future. Take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.